Welcome, guys. So, since we don't have any topic pre-planned for today, and we'll talk about pretty much anything, just comment below with your questions and your thought if you have anything you want us to cover. I think I have an idea, but let's see how where this leads us. Comment with
I
your
would like to
questions,
share
and we'll make sure
something
to answer them.
from
Yeah, go ahead.
would like to share something from the conference that I really love. What was really great, one of the guys who was talking at the conference was this guy Ben Roth, who is really successful fund manager who lives in New York now. I think he's an Aussie boy, Australian, but he lives in New York as far as I know. And he said something really interesting. He asked, is the market your friend or is it your enemy? And I found when I work with male traders, they often use the market as the enemy, something to fight and to conquer. And hearing from someone who is so super successful like Ben Roth, who said, why won't you make the market your friend? Why does it have to be fighting all the time? I thought it was really interesting because, again, most traders that I know, they don't become friends with the market. And even when we have a loss, what my message always is about losses is that's the market being your friend, because it's the market giving you feedback. If you feel bad about a loss, that's feedback for you, that there is a learning for you, that's something for you to heal, to clear, a blockage to get out of the way. There's 4 types of blockages. So the spiritual, the emotional, the mental, and that will show up in your physical life. So if you don't have enough money in your life, that's a physical blockage, because we need money to do really amazing things. But that's just a manifestation of the emotional, mental, and spiritual blockage that you have. So if something about trading makes you feel really, really upset that it's out of proportion, it's one of the blockages that needs to be cleared. And the market being your friend, saying, hey, dude, come on, look at that. You need to fix it. You need to solve it so that you can grow and prosper and be all you want to be. I loved it so much.
Wonderful. I think we've got topic for the whole event just right now, which is really, really good. I think a lot of insights. We have a couple people joining us, which is really good. Timur, Ryan, yeah, good way to look at it. He says, I hear a lot of people talking about how the market is always out to get your money and extra, etc. Yeah, that's pretty true. And I think one of the things that I heard really one time that really changed my whole perspective of trading. That was by a trading coach I hired about 2 years ago. And one of the things he said was losses are irrelevant. They don't matter. There shouldn't be this principle of win and loss in the market or in trading, because all you do is you always do your plan, and no matter what happens, you're supposed to do the exact same thing all the time. Where if you get affected by either a win or a loss, it's you're getting out of the process. And I'm sure many you can relate to this, and you've probably told that to people as well. But yeah.
Not as eloquently, and I love what your coach told you. That's a really great reframe. And my successful traders that I have the pleasure to work with, and I'm really, really lucky that I can work with this kind of caliber of traders. They still go through the emotional upset, but they still stick to the process. It's so fascinating to see. So one guy especially, I have quoted him a few times. I call him my hedge fund buddy. He's running half a automated strategy, but with manual execution. And the strategy was a few points short during this month, where he didn't get into the market because his entry was, let's say, at I don't know, DAX 13,164, but the DAX only went to 13,163, and he was angry about it. And I said, so why won't you change your strategy? Why won't you amend your system? He said, because that's not the point. The point is that my system has been proven over a certain number of years, and I know it works. And just because it didn't work this month to the point doesn't mean that it doesn't work. So I just grind my teeth, I stick to my system, and feel upset in the meantime, and go and have a good time. Go for a walk or so. Really interesting. That's the difference, right?
I can totally relate to this. And even myself, my system is kind of a little bit, I would say, strict. So things don't always happen the exact same way, and there might be like a place where we get to a zone in the market, and really ready to trade. Like it's this perfect zone, but then setup doesn't appear, so I have to kind of skip, and
Yeah,
the perfect reversal happens. But to me,
yeah,
like at the beginning, yeah, it matters a lot, and you feel like frustrated and angry. But over time, you get to understand that it's fine. Like just it's not just not your setup, and you're just not supposed to trade, which I think is fine too. So
yeah. And that was
love
the
it.
same guy who said that our performance statistics is like the Fitbit for our
Oh
performance. You
wow,
know how,
yeah,
yeah, so that's the same guy. And he also said, I know my performance statistics, I know my metrics, and I know that my system has, I don't know the number, but if it has 70% profit loss ratio, this is the 30% that I have to grind through to get to my 70%. So, you know, deal with
love
it.
that one. Yeah, love that one. We've
Yeah.
got a couple of questions from people watching this. I think though I just have one question before, and that is the fact that you mentioned that if we believe for like about money or that we have scarce money and that it's hard to get money, the problem is I think a lot of people come into trading and they don't have like plenty of money to spare and like invest and everything. So what is the solution in that case? What should people do if they don't have that much money and they still want to trade? Can they just change their belief and everything is fixed automatically, or do they have to
I
kind of
wish,
get more secure with money first?
yeah. Um, During the conference, I think I did about 14 coaching sessions this weekend. Is I'm just wow. But what was very prevalent, the common theme was that traders got into trading to as a solution to their problems. You know, I hate my job. I plan to get out of my job in 7 months' time or 6 months' time after I made it in trading. And I thought, it took 7 years, dude. You know, okay, that was the time before the internet, and I still had to pick up the phone to call my broker. So you maybe do it in half the time, but it's a process. It's not a 6 months thing. And another guy going through a really tough time with his marriage, and he thought, if only I make enough money in trading, I can get out of this. It was actually the guy was a woman. If only I make enough money in trading, I can get out of this abusive marriage. So you can see, and it's like countless examples like that. And so we both know, you and I, that trading doesn't work this way. If we use trading to get out of a situation, we will, it's like quicksand, we will actually get deeper and deeper into the mess. So when we have financial challenges and we don't have enough money, we have to prove in our external life and in the other areas of life first that we can make money, and then bring that money into the trading realm. So what happens is traders can nowadays start with, I don't know, $200 account, you know, and to make 1% on $20,000 is pretty good, right? It's $200 a day. It's pretty good. But 1% on a $200 account is what, $2?
Yeah.
And $2 is nothing, right? And so we don't have enough patience to do what we need to do. We get frustrated because we're like, look, I'm trading so well, but I don't make any money because $2, you know, I can't even get a coffee for $2 anymore. What needs to be done is to stop trading, stay on the sim, stay on the demo until you have built up enough capital to trade a solid account. That's, you know, I don't know any other option. Even if you get an inheritance or if someone gives you money and you haven't proven in your other areas of your life that you can make money and that you can keep your money, you will uh, you will lose your account, most probably. There's a few exceptions who won't, but we all know the statistics of people who win the lottery, who get an inheritance. So the statistics are there for a reason. So
Hmm.
did it answer make sense?
Yeah, I think it's really powerful. And I was trying to think myself because I've been in that kind of situation before. When I started
Yeah.
to trade, I had like this reason or this big goal to wanting to trade. But I think like so it took me pretty much 2 years to understand that I would have to do the work anyway, and that no matter what I was doing with my live trading, I would still not make money. So the only solution for me was to kind of go back, stop a little bit for a while, reflect, and kind of work on my trading a little bit. And I think like we don't want to do it sometimes, but it's kind of the
No.
only thing we can do. And eventually, we'll have to do it if we really want to succeed. You kind of have two cases. You have the people who start to trade. They trade like they start live because they want to make money, of course, and then they go through it and they still don't get any results, so they quit. Or there's the people who go to live right away. They trade a little bit, or they trade for a while, and then they see, well, there's no other way. Like I have to work, I have to stop and work on my trading. It's the only
Yeah.
solution. And then they stop, they work, and then they go back and then succeed. So I think that's like a way to summarize it. I think, but that's something I realized like over time. No matter what, like level you're at right now, if you don't succeed, you have to work on it. I think.
What I also found interesting is that people go on the demo on the demo or sim trading,
Yeah.
but all they practice is their strategy. All they practice is their how much money can I make. How would different would trading on the sim be if they would practice the way they think about trading? If they would practice implementing financial literacy and financial numeracy, behavioral finance, and practice that in their sim trading rather than just trading their skill set in terms of trading, trading technique. And this is the missing bit. So demo trading and sim trading can be amazing, but not if you only look at how much money you've made or lost. And this is the pitfall.
Yeah, love that. You guys have a really good question. I think we'll get to those right now because that's gonna be pretty powerful. And I know we have to stop this like 10 minutes or 20 minutes, so we'll try to cover those quickly. And if you guys have any other question, comment in the chat box in the live chat on I believe this side, and we'll make sure to cover those questions. There's just one thing I want to address, and that's a comment from SKD. He says, "If I make enough money, I can stop listening to Forex expert." And to this, I would say absolutely not. It's the time where you start to make money and you start to take this seriously that probably gonna listen to more experts, read more books, try to increase yourself because it's always a process of continuously improving yourself. You cannot just become successful and then everything is perfect. Like you make money and you're there. Like even Mandi and I, we go to conference, we read books, we listen to podcasts, we watch videos sometimes of other people because we don't have all the answers. And the best way to succeed and fail is to stop learning.
Yeah, so true.
Cool. Let's see. We have a question from Geoffrey who says, psychologically, how do you deal with the series of losing trade? I think I've got my tactics, but maybe Mandy, you want to share yours first? How do you deal with a series of losing trade?
Um, so series of losing trades needs to be defined more. A series of losing trades can be 3 or 4 or can be 20. So
Yeah.
it depends, number one, on your trading methodology. Have you back tested your methodology and you know what your biggest losing streak and biggest winning streak is? Because I have my account set up on my FX book, and also I run a spreadsheet for my CQG account, which I can't have on my FX book. I know what my biggest losing streak is. If I have a losing streak that is longer than my biggest losing streak at the moment, I know something is not quite right because my performance statistics tell me that this is out of the norm. Then I need to go back and say, is the market out of the norm? Is the market not really suited to my trading strategy at the moment? Do I need to be more careful? Or is something going on for myself where I do stupid things? And forced trading, or where I consistently choose entries that are not working well. So do I need to work on myself? These are the two areas that I need to look at. And again, because you're the same, you know your metrics, you know your statistics, we know immediately where our gaps are. So if I have, let's say on average 8 losing trades, and then suddenly I have 12 losing trades, I look at my statistics and I see that my biggest loser has become bigger than my biggest winner. I instantly know that I haven't executed my trading strategy correctly. If my holding time for losing trades becomes longer than usually, I know that I have been hanging on to my losing trades. But if everything in my statistics is as normal, then I know that maybe the market hasn't been working for my system, because the market has been changing so much in the last year, hasn't it? But I find for my system, I needed to adjust my trading system according to the market. Reversal patterns, it's like, what do you mean a short reversal pattern? You know, we had this beautiful short reversal pattern on the DAX on when was it, on Friday, on Thursday night, and then the DAX went like bang, you know, got to go with it. Yeah. So I had to change my approach, and it wasn't me; it was the market changing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool.
Mm.
I
What
think
is your
s-
strategy,
yeah,
Jen?
sometimes it's hard to understand which one changed. Is it you or the market? And I've had like my whole deal of trouble with that, of trying to figure out what the problem was. And I think all like my last big kind of losing streak was back in January, I think, or February or something. And I think that was me at that time. That was me trying to trade and travel. It didn't work out in the beginning, but that's totally fine. And the like all the time when I have a series of losing trade like this, I always do the same thing. So I print all my chart. I look at all of them, like sitting down and drawing on all these charts, and I try to figure out what's happening. Is it me or is it the market? And oftentimes it's going to be me, or oftentimes it's going to be the market first, and then it's slowly decreasing to being me over time. And that's something I spotted for
Yeah.
myself, but it can be different like all the time. For me, I think really looking back at the trade on paper, and we talk about that in tomorrow's podcast interview, really, really helps to figure out what's working wrong and how can correct it.
That's actually a really good point that you just raised, because when the market was changing, I started getting frustrated, and I started changing my
Yeah.
behavior, and I started to like trying to force it. So even though at first the trigger was the market changed, and consequently my behavior changed, and then I need to look at myself and say, wow, I started getting frustrated because of that trigger. And then I needed to, so my solution to my behavior was adapting my strategy.
Hmm.
But sometimes it's something else. It's a behavioral pattern that we have had in the past, like letting losses run.
Yeah, yeah.
So it just really depends exactly what the problem is.
Oh yeah, it's like a broad topic,
Yeah,
a broad question, but yeah, I like it.
yeah,
I think it's good,
exactly.
good tips.
Yeah. Hmm. Hope it
Uh,
answered your question.
yeah, Joffrey, I hope
Was it
just comment below if
Jeffrey?
it doesn't answer, and we'll deal with it a little bit more. But
Yes.
Ran is saying, do you think the 20% mechanic and 80% psychology rule is true? So I'm supposing, and I'm just gonna assume that it's like trading is 20% mechanics and 80% psychology or something similar. Would
Yeah,
you
no,
agree
I
with that,
don't think
Mindy?
so. No, totally not. There's
Okay.
so much more to trading, so much more. So in our first session of our training, we spoke about the wheel of trading success. So in my model of the world, trading, so number one, we have the three pillars, right? So we need to look at trading psychology in terms of managing yourself. Then your money mindset, which includes your emotional, so the four blockages to money, and also the thinking strategies like behavioral finance, and then also performance metrics. So these are the three areas that you need to, skill sets that you need to develop inside your trading. But trading as a trading business, going, you know, chunking up, going big picture, you need to, number one, look at your mindset in general. So your attitude. If you were a company, you would call it a company culture. What is your values? What is your beliefs? What are your standards? You know, what is your expectations of yourself and others in the market? Number two, you need to have your structure. So you need to have your trading strategy written down in a step-by-step process on a piece of paper, laminated and ticking it off. And Etienne, you're so strong in strategy in terms of, sorry, in structure, in terms of being organized, having your trading spreadsheets organized, having a work instruction. What do you do after three losing trades? Do you continue trading or do you stop? You're really clear on that. I love that about your work, you know.
Cool.
And then number three, it's the implementation. So you have set out your trading business plan and exactly what do you do when. And now you need to go into the market and apply what you've learned, and then you get the feedback. You know, as Steve Watt calls it. So you have implementation, feedback, adjusting the plan, and then you implement again. So it's the performance cycle. And then, you get your feedback from the market that your implementation worked or didn't work. And then you need to fine tune your business plan and go the same cycle again. And number 4, who's in your team to support you? Whom can you talk to when things don't go well? Who, as I said, my bookkeepers on my team, my massage therapist is on my team, my friends are on my team. Yeah, so that's why to say 80-20, no, there's so much more to that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think there's like different kind of name of category we can talk about. But I think when you summarize them well, and I like that. I think it's always going to be different, but no matter what you do, it's always going to be like 30%, 30%, 30%, or like the same amount for every category. If you have 4 categories, it's like only 20% each. Because like if one fails, you fail at everything. And that's what I was like trying to find in my notes. But I did a video about that a few months ago, or a few weeks ago, about sort of how things work. And the best thing you can do, I believe, is to rank yourself on these different categories. So on this
Yes, nice.
paper, I had like execution, planning, and money management. Those are for me the 3 major parts. You can name like differently, but if these are not in place, and you want to know which one you're weak at, because you're not like 10 at all categories at all times. It's impossible. You cannot be like super good at everything, but you cannot be super bad at everything either. So you need to figure out where you are in each and try to figure out action step for each one. So I think unfortunately people like have this tendency of wanting to compress all their trading to like one thing. It's only psychology, or it's only this strategy. You have to have the perfect strategy, but they miss like the big point of balancing the different areas, I think.
That is so true. Yeah. And you just proved it, how organized you are. That's your key strength.
It's a little bit messy, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's all right. Go. We have
High
Ryan here
standards too.
says,
Mhm.
go ahead.
No, I just said you have high standards as well, which is good.
Okay, good, good. We have Ryan here saying, I hated my job, so I quit and went full time after learning a strategy and practicing it. It lasted 4 months, blew up, and went back to my job. Yeah, it happens. It's
Oh,
not the end of the
yeah.
world though, because all these failures, like they're part of the process anyway. And I tell people like, no matter what you do, it's part of of your success story. And I think Mandy, you have a perfect quote for this. The quote I forgot. Every successful trader has a dark past, and every or something similar. So I love it. Yeah, maybe you can like restate for people to get it.
And every losing trader has a bright future.
Exactly. Love it. Exactly. And no matter what happens, you're always learning and you're always like going forward. And I think that's what counts. If
Yeah.
you blow up and then you stop, well, yeah, like it's frustrating. But if you stop, you're done. If you keep going, you're not done, which is something to think about, I think, and to
Etienne, do you
remember.
know the story of the guy at IBM who did a multi-$100 million mistake? Do you know that story?
No, no. So maybe you want to tell it to people so they get it.
Yeah. So the story is that there was this guy at IBM, and he made this really big mistake, and then he was called to the office to the boss, Tom Watson, I think is his name. And so the guy thought he's going to be sacked, and he said he got told off, and then he said, all right, so I pack up my desk and leave, and I'm so sorry. And then Tom Watson was like, I'm not going to let you leave. You just made $100 million experience that is going to be so valuable for our business. You're going to stay, dude. You're going to make that up. And I love that, because we would sack ourselves from trading for making stupid mistakes. But when you have had a $10,000 loss, you just had a $10,000 experience that can make you $100,000 in the future. Yeah, that is the story.
Wow, that's really powerful. I like it. I like it. And I think it applies to anything. So very, very powerful.
Yeah. I have to go.
Yeah, totally, totally fine. I think we'll wrap it up here, guys. If you have any other question, comment below and in the chat. We'll cover those probably next week or another time. And Ryan's saying awesome for the story. I think that's good. Thank you, Ryan. And we'll cover that next week. Or if you have any questions, type in the comment box for the replay. And we'll catch you guys pretty soon. Have a nice week. Beginning of the week. So you
Thank
must
you.
be prepared. Plan everything you can plan. And be ready for the trades. Ciao.
Happy trading. Bye.